Okay. Welcome everybody. I hope that the stream is working. I'm sorry, we were having some technical difficulties there. I don't know what was going on exactly, but we seem to have figured it out. I'm just going to do a quick sound check and then we're going to get started. So give me one quick second. All right, so the sound seems to be working just fine. I want to say welcome again. Hope you're all having an amazing day so far. This is the grade 10 review session for those of you who are going into grade 11 functions next year. We're going to be talking today about what skills you can practice over the summer, or which skills you can practice over the summer that you covered in grade 10 that will actually really help you for grade 11. So one of the things that I think is very important is understanding what you need to know and what doesn't matter. Because a lot of the stuff you've learned in grade 9 and grade 10 are never to be covered again in any math course ever, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. So, what we want to do is give you guys a good breakdown on what it is that would be helpful for you to practice for next year. So, we just open up my light here a little bit. Okay. Now, first and foremost, there's something I want you guys to understand. There are three main aspects of math, in my opinion, that are going to be important for you forever and ever and ever. And that's going to be understanding integers. Oh, I probably should use my pen. Understanding integers, and that's with rationals. Rationals such as fractions is what I mean. Integers, BEDMAS, and algebra. So if you struggle with any of these three things, I highly recommend finding worksheets over the summer, or if you want to join our Elite Math Mastery program, you're more than welcome to. However works for you. There's lots of different ways, but really, really, really hone in on these skills, you guys. They're so important. And I know that if you just give yourself some time to practice them when there's not that high stress environment of having tests and having assignments due, it'll be a lot easier for you. Okay, so let's discuss the skills from grade 10 math that actually matter. So these are obviously skills from years prior that are somewhat important. Now let's talk about grade 10 math. We covered a lot of things in grade 10 math, but not really even more than 50% of it is going to continue on to next year. So let's talk about what actually is important. First and foremost, what I want you guys to understand is that trigonometry plays a major role next year. So I want you guys to brush up on your SOHCAHTOA to the point where you have absolutely no questions about SOHCAHTOA. Now, in grade 11, this gets to be much more complex. You guys are going to go far beyond the realm of SOHCAHTOA. But if you don't have a strong understanding of SOHCAHTOA, it will be much more difficult for you. The same goes for sine law. And cosine law. So please brush up on these three things. I can't stress enough how important they will be for grade 11. Okay. Now, this is kind of its own thing. The part that is going to be very, very important for you for next year is as follows. So let me put a bubble around that. And again, if anyone has any questions specifically about the stuff I'm talking about, you're more than welcome to leave those in the chat and I will address them as best as I can. Okay, But the real kicker, the actually super, super important part of grade 10 math that I need you guys to go and practice, and I highly implore, like, I just highly recommend and implore you to master over the summer is everything relating to polynomials. Polynomials are your new best friend, okay? I promise you guys, the more you practice this over the summer, the better things are going to be for you in grade 11 math. Heck, I even recommend going back and watching the grade 11 math lessons that we've been giving here on freemathhelp.ca. Exposing yourself to that material prior to you learning it in class is going to give you such a major advantage, you guys. And I promise you, this is not me just trying to get views. I don't get paid to do this. Nobody here gets paid to do this. This is totally a free service for you guys. I really, really recommend pre-learning as much of the grade 11 curriculum as you can. That's actually something we do in our elite math mastery programs, is that we not only address the areas of math that you might need help with in terms of fundamental skill building, but we actually pre-teach the next year's curriculum, and we've seen immense benefits for our students who do that. So you don't have to do that through us. I'm not saying you have to do it through us. You can do it, if you want to on your own. You can watch these freemathhelp.ca videos. It's not exactly the same, but it does get you somewhere. And that's what's really important. Because I know for a fact, those of you who are here right now, and those of you who have been dedicating yourself to practicing over this time when schools have been closed, you guys are leaders. You're the type of people who go ahead and work to get what you want. And I know for a fact that if you pre-learn, it's going to make your life so much easier. Okay, so let's talk about polynomials and what matters. First of all, polynomials and the distributive property are super important. Now, I know that this isn't the most complex part, but a lot of people find themselves forgetting how to do these things over the summer because of learning loss. And learning loss is a natural reaction. And the way you can counteract the effects of learning loss are to do like 15 minutes of math every day, or do half an hour of math every other day, whatever works for you. Keeping your brain stimulated doing this stuff is going to make a big difference. Okay, another thing that I think you guys really should focus on over the summer: common factoring. And just understanding how to factor on so many levels. More in the realm of this area that I'm talking about here, difference of squares. I want you guys to be able to recognize the difference of squares in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Sorry, my voice is starting to go, you guys. But it's really, really one of those things that comes up over and over again in math, not just in grade 11 functions. So we've got difference of squares and perfect squares. These two things, difference of squares and perfect squares, are never going away. I highly, highly recommend that you start being able to recognize these at the drop of a hat, because I'm telling you, it does make your life so much easier in grade 11. Okay, so that's those things. Now, what we're going to do, if we have time before the end of the session, I'll try and give some examples of these. That's if we have time and if people want that. So if you guys are interested in me providing examples, let me know. Little smiley face there. Oh, he's cute. Should we give him hair? Do we like the hair? No. He can be bald. He looks like Caillou a little bit. Anyways, so that's a good portion. And when I mean by polynomials in the distributive property, I'm really talking about FOIL. Where did my pen go? Here we are. Yay. Okay. So now let's talk about some more things that are super important. First of all, I need you guys to have just an automatic understanding of the different versions of quadratic equations. Oh, that should be versions. Or quadratics in general. So obviously we know we've got our standard form, the y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. It's also very important to know what each type of equation tells you about the quadratic. Then we've got vertex form, and that's y equals a bracket x minus h squared plus k. And finally, we have got factored form. And be really careful when you're writing out factored form. A lot of people forget to put the a in, but it's y equals a x minus p x plus q. Again, we've got lessons on all of these things. If you go back and you watch the stuff that we were looking at weeks prior, if you have questions, our website is available. You can definitely send us your questions. Yay. Okay. So, given that we have an understanding of these three different quadratic equations or formats, whatever you want to call them, it's also important to keep in mind that we need to be able to derive these at the drop of a hat. So, skills that I need you guys to really be aware of over the summer, definitely factoring, especially when, factoring trinomials is what I was trying to say, where the a term is greater than 1. Also, practice factoring by grouping. That's what I like to call the air conditioning method, you guys. You can go back and watch the videos I have about that. And we also want to practice our, which actually out of the factoring rules, those are pretty solid. That's important right there. One thing that I need you guys to also be practicing, so this is in the factoring realm, but in the vertex realm of things, you've got to practice completing the square. This has to be like second nature to you guys. The reason that this is important is because obviously you'll see that this comes up again next year, but also it comes up again the year after that. You know, factoring is a skill that never really goes away in the type of math that we do throughout high school. And even if you're going to take university level calculus, it's very important as well. Okay. So let's open up another page here. Put some text at the top. Okay. Now, keeping in mind that the reason that you're learning how to factor and how to use vertex form and all of that fun stuff is because graphing plays such a strong role in the curriculum. And understanding how to graph is so important. So, within the realm of graphing, there are a couple things I need you guys to be really aware of. Graphing. Now, one thing, the concept of domain and range. Very important. They come up again over and over and over. So that's something you definitely want to be aware of for next year. And then what we want to look at are quadratic transformations. And these transformations, I want you to be able to understand them beyond the realm of quadratics, but using the framework of the quadratic function, or the quadratic equations, whatever you want to call them, as a basis for understanding what the heck is going on. Because quadratic transformations are kind of the basic way of understanding transformations for all things. Because if we have our standard way, and the vertex form is really the best way to kind of look at it when you have the x minus h squared plus k, you'll see this concept over and over again. You might see it as a thing like this. The thing is that next year it's going to get even more intense because you're going to have something like this. This could be the letter B. It doesn't really matter what the letters are. It's more about the placement of the letters. So all these things, understanding the different transformations, what they mean, what they do to transform the function that you're discussing is very important. So just kind of as a breakdown here, we definitely want to discuss vertical translations, and also horizontal translations, how that works. We shall also be discussing vertical stretch and compression. And also bringing it all together. Yay! And then most importantly, not most importantly, but something that's very important also is understanding reflections, which isn't something you cover too heavily in grade 10, but it does come up quite intensely in grade 11. Okay. Definitely don't forget about the quadratic formula. And again, for those of you who might just be tuning in, what we're talking about today are skills that you learned in grade 10 that you should be practicing over the summer so that you don't get rusty, because they will present themselves in grade 11 again. And that's to say that not everything you learned in the grade 10 curriculum or even the grade 9 curriculum is important. And I'm actually going to give you guys some skills that are from the grade 9 curriculum that are important in the grade 11 curriculum, but that you didn't really cover in grade 10 because the way that the Ontario curriculum is set up is silly. Okay. So again, quadratics, we want to focus on the quadratic formula. It's really important. This is that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of... Actually, am I even saying it right? Let me just double check here. Because now my brain is starting to go for the day. Yeah, negative b plus or minus. I just was doubting myself. Never doubt yourself, you guys. You see what happened there? I doubted myself and we had a lull. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so remember also about the discriminant. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So these are all very important skills. Being able to derive an equation from a graph, super important skill. Moreover, I really want to reflect back on a couple things in the grade 9 curriculum that are just super important for grade 11. First and foremost, exponent laws. Go back and practice your exponent laws. They're a whole unit in grade 11. They just become more intense. But if you don't have a strong understanding of how to do complex exponent law equations, things are going to be more difficult for you than you will anticipate. Another thing I want you guys to remember back in the day, Pythagorean theorem. That's going to be really important for next year. Similar triangles. All of these things are quite important. So if you guys are writing down, I'll let you just catch up there for a second. Okay. So these are all very important things, you guys. But most importantly, like I was saying, graphing is going to play a huge, huge role next year. Next year, you're going to learn about something called the parent functions. If you want to introduce yourself to those ahead of time, definitely smart. Because we're going to take the information we learned about transforming graphs of the quadratic form, and we're going to apply them to all sorts of different functions. The the absolute value function, the um, tertiary functions, just all sorts of functions that are very, very easy in theory, but they can get really difficult to graph if you don't have an understanding of what's going on with the graphing. Okay, so let's just go back here and make sure we've covered as much as possible. So, like I said, the polynomials and the distributive property, super important. Just practice, practice, practice. Polynomials, adding, subtracting, dividing, all of that fun stuff. Make sure you understand how to complete the square, how to do factoring. All of that stuff comes in handy. And then last but not least, we've got the different versions of quadratic equations and understanding those. Trigonometry, go in there, relearn your Pythagorean theorem. Make sure you've got SOHCAHTOA, sine law, and cosine law down on lock, and that your factoring skills are of the highest echelon possible. Okay. And then, yeah, so that, my friends, my friends, are the key skills that I highly recommend that if you just finished grade 10 math and you're taking grade 11 math next year, I highly recommend you keep practicing these skills. My real strongest recommendation is to pre-learn, the grade 11 curriculum. That's something we do in our Elite Math Mastery program. If you are interested in doing online tutoring over the summer, we have an amazing system. Video, wow, what's wrong with me? Video audio capabilities. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Um, and obviously it has a shared screen like this. You get your own workbook to follow along in, to work on with your tutor. This is one thing that I cannot recommend enough. I actually tell parents, if you can only afford a certain amount of tutoring, so say you can only afford like 24 hours of tutoring, you're better off using those 24 hours to pre-learn the schoolwork in the summer than you are to pick up the pieces during the school year. So however you guys go about practicing, pre-learning, getting ready for grade 11, I wish you the best of luck. I know that there's lots of materials out there on the internet, so if you want to go on the internet and look for this stuff, you absolutely can. It's out there for you to look for. You can go in and watch our lessons on the grade 11 um, sessions from freemathhelp.ca from previous weeks. We cover most of the curriculum in the videos that I have posted on freemathhelp.ca. But other than that, I wish you guys the best of luck. If anyone has questions, feel free to send them in. I'll wait here for about a minute. But if not, then my friends, we are going to wrap up because this is the last day of freemathhelp.ca. So yeah, so I'll just give you guys a minute there if you've got anything you're wondering about. And then we can go and enjoy our summers. Alrighty, you guys. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions coming through. So, again, I want to say thank you so much to those of you who joined us week after week. You guys did an amazing job keeping up with your work this semester. I wish you the best of luck for next year. I hope you have an amazing summer and I hope you have a safe summer. And for those of you who ever need to talk to somebody, I always want to leave you guys with kidshelpphone.ca. There are people there who care about you and who want to talk to you if you need someone to talk to. So check it out if you're looking to if you are in need of someone to talk to about how you're feeling over the summer, because I know that being in isolation can be quite overwhelming. So other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope you have a wonderful summer and hope you enjoy your next semester of math next year. So have a good one and hopefully um, everything goes perfectly for you as you continue on your high school journey. Thank you guys. Talk to you, I don't know when again, but hopefully soon.